We're gonna talk about this guy called Cody. He's a YouTuber. Now he's in trouble from something that happened in the past some time ago when he was 26 or something. Let's check it out.
Let's talk about Cody because he has absolutely blown up online in the past 24 hours. And if you don't know, he's a massive YouTuber, content creator.
And before we even start this,
What?
a lot of people are like, yo, why haven't you guys covered this? Oh, look at the male commentary community just defend. I don't know this motherfucker. I don't know none of these people involved. I don't know nothing about Tana Mojo. So this is all new to me. And honestly,
I somewhat know Cody. I've been getting into his videos. He usually does like reaction videos to relationship shows.
honestly, whatever happens to them after this, I don't really care.
Creator, podcaster, he DJs now. And the reason his name's popping up all over the place right now is there's this massive wave of pressure for him to address allegations that he had sex with Tana Mojo back when she was 17. With those allegations reportedly just kind of simmering quietly in the open for a while, but then they started making waves earlier this year when Tana mentioned it on her podcast. But really, this whole situation's blown up in the last 24 hours after D'Angelo Wallace made a video about it. And it's prompted a ton of discussion online. And we'll start with some of the
Everybody has been making videos about this. Everybody has been making videos.
claims at hand, right? So a lot of this first started getting attention last month when Tana did a live show of her podcast and said,
"Who's the smallest you ever had?" Oh my God, do no one look at me, Cody Co. Delete the video. I can say that. I was literally 17. I can say that.
right, and once that clip made it to TikTok, people started doing the math, realizing that if Tana was 17, Cody would have likely been 25 at the time. With Tana herself then further clarifying the claim on her podcast later in June, saying, yeah, people did the right math.
This isn't just some crazy tea. It was a crime. I hooked up with Cody
It was
when
a
I
crime.
was 17 and he was 25. When I look back at the Cody situation, I definitely am like, why was he doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't associate or hold it with trauma because I am such a comparative person where I'm like, so many worse things have happened to me. And that's bad.
The way it has until yesterday. With D'Angelo posting a video titled An Uncomfortable Conversation About Cody Co, which racked up over 1 million views as of this morning. With this, you also had D'Angelo saying that it appears Gabby Hanna previously backed Tana's story. Tana saying that Gabby kind of witnessed this and tried to intervene. And D'Angelo saying that he found an old clip where she told this story.
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage. And I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know. I know she like looks a little older. She's underage. Watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
And so there's
Thanks a lot.
Just that clip could be the drop of some UK music. I told a guy the girl was no underage. And he said, oh, thanks for drop.
Yeah. Don't worry, I get you. This is a serious topic, but that's a serious tune.
That's a serious tune right there.
That's a serious.
massive people slamming Cody in his Instagram comments. And folks on Twitter are saying things like, people being okay with Cody Co hooking up with an underage Tana because it's Tana is actually disgusting and
All right.
It's not about being okay with it. It's about the fact that it happened so many years ago, and he's grown so much since. He's developed. He's created his. He's made his YouTube channel. You know, it's got like 6 million followers already on it. It's kind of like oh, and now that he's gone to wherever he's getting at, now we're gonna go ahead and try to devour this guy to like bring him down. I think it's messed up. It's like, you know, where's the accountability on her part? Yeah, she was 17 years old. What's the difference between 17 and 18? But a year, right? All of a sudden, you know, when she turns 18, now she can think better. It's like, okay, he did something illegal. Whatever. Like, seriously, whatever. I really don't care at this point. It's like, why was she at that party to begin with? You know what I mean? What about everybody else that put her in that situation? What about the fact that the parents weren't around for it? You know what I mean? It's like, plus it happened so many years ago. Happened so long ago. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think that's pretty good. So apparently, the place where they did it, this would be technically considered illegal. And folks are like, "Why won't this guy respond to these all these?"
And that's the other thing too. The legalities of it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's I would say it's like a moral debate. Is it wrong to have sex with a 17-year-old? Well, I've had sex with a 17-year-old at some point in my life, right? Now, was it 25? No, I wasn't. I think I was 17. I mean, I think I was 19 when that happened. Cancel me now. Cancel me.
It's probably because if he did it, him saying he did it is not going to make him look good. Him saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I banged an underage person," it's not going to make him look good. So, at the advice of his lawyers and everybody else involved, keep your mouth shut. Some plausible deniability still exists. I don't really care about the legality of the topic because I don't think that really has any merit as to whether or not it's right or wrong. Right? The
Yeah,
idea
I
that
don't think so
design
either.
behavior can happen in one state over and the person's 16 and it's legal doesn't make this any less good or bad. To me, I think legality is kind of like pointless. So everyone's like, well, it was illegal. That's like, sure, if they're going to press charges, I guess that has merit. But I don't think it really matters for the public discussion. People talking about the age specific. Look, this is what I think about age gap dynamics, okay? I think it's a red flag when someone's involved with someone who's underage. A red flag does not mean that something bad's happening. It just means to take a look, and it could be a reason to have extreme caution.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is I've grown up with a lot of people who ended up marrying their high school sweethearts, or they were 18 and they were dating somebody who's 26 and they ended up getting married later. For some people, these kind of dynamics can work and not be problematic.
My grandmother was like 15 years old when she got married to my grandfather, which I don't remember exactly the age, but he was already pretty old. Like, was he almost 30 or something? I think, yeah, he was almost 30. She was 16, 15, something like that. They got married. It used to be a different time. That's this whole, oh my god, Cody was 25 and had sex with a 17-year-old. It's like now it's a big deal, but it used to not be a big deal. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's. I mean, that's more. It's morality. It's about morals at this point. Is it morally wrong? I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's so many factors to this, right? Like there's also the fact that, like I said already earlier, where were her parents at? Why was she at this party? She's 17 years old. Why is she at the party? Why was she allowed to be at this party at 17 years old?
And then for others, it can be an indication of something very bad happening. I don't think in a vacuum I can look at an age dynamic and be like, this is inherently bad. That's for the two people involved. That depends on their dynamic. So for me, when it comes to age gap stuff, I think it's a case by case basis, but I don't think there's anything wrong with people being like, yikes, or people being like, take a look over here, or
I mean, it is yikes. It is yikes, but I don't think it's yikes enough to the point where you want to cancel Cody, cancel all his work, cancel everything he's done. It's like a witch hunt.
I'm pretty sure if anybody had a sibling or a child who was 17 and they were dating someone 25, everyone would feel apprehensive, and rightfully so. But
Oh yeah, and I also remember like at least two or three of my boys being 17, 16, and I think even 15, having sex with girls that were like 20, 22, 23. I think one of them was 27. Let's relax.
as far as the legality, I personally don't care. I know in some countries it goes down to 12, and I still wouldn't use that as a barometer for what I think is acceptable or not. And I also don't think it's good because it makes it sound like once you hit 18, everything is fair game. No,
Yeah.
I think the problems that exist
That's the other thing too. It's like what's the difference between 17 and 18? How much growth is going to happen from 17th to 18? Like if you ask me, is somebody ready to make decisions at 18 years old that are, adult decisions or whatever? I don't think so. I think that 21 would probably be an actual adult at that point. And even then, you're not fully developed mentally. I heard it was like what was it? What is it? 25 years old? Like that's when your brain actually finishes developing.
in the behavior
I don't condone this, by the way. I'm just saying he should not be canceled for it.
between a 17 and a potential 26-year-old or above. Can't exist between an 18 and a 29-year-old or a 19 and a 30-year-old. These kinds of dynamics can always be a problem.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just have a problem whenever people say the term barely legal.
Yeah.
You know, when I hear that term,
Yeah.
I always envision this. Just someone waiting.
Staring at a clock or some shit. Yeah. So this is why I said I don't care about the age aspect. Well, look,
And that's the other thing too. It's like, okay, so you're saying that if the girl's 18 years old or the guy or whatever, all of a sudden now it's okay. I don't think so. It's just not about the age. It's about the person, the individual.
it's not that I don't care. I don't think it's the most important aspect. Is there are relationships between a 19 and 21-year-old that I could find incredibly unethical. For example, this happened not long ago, but a university student was sleeping with their professor who was 23 and they were 19, and the professor went to jail. And I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm not perfectly fine with that. I am not fine with that at all. The problems that come from someone going to jail trickles down the family line, right? It's not just that person that's affected by it. It affects many people that are connected to that person. Also, going to jail for something that somebody was of age already and consenting.
Why? Not because it's two adults consenting, blah, blah. It's because of the dynamic between the two people involved. A professor who has control over your grades and everything involved should not be allowed to sleep with their students. And I think places that passes laws like that are great. Does that mean that a relationship dynamic between a professor and a student is always going to be bad? No.
Well,
No, but I think there's certain protections that we have to put into place to make sure that, one, schools are impartial or appear to be fair. And I think the same thing for law. Like, just because a judge can sleep with a defendant doesn't mean it shouldn't be illegal. It doesn't mean the two people can't be consenting. But there's something incredibly unethical and bad about these kinds of potential dynamics, right?
I think jail is a bit much.
This is one of the few times I'm agreeing with Preach. Usually I don't agree with him, but jail is too much. It's too much. If the professor already got fired for doing something like that, he's already lost his job. I think that's pretty even. For him to go to jail for it, you're gonna be going to jail for a lot of different things.
Teacher and the student?
Oh.
Go ahead.
If she's 19 and you're 23, jail.
It's not about the age. It's not about the age. They could have been 25 and she could have been 23, the teacher. I don't care.
Jail?
If your teacher is banging their student, I have no issue with them considering jail time.
Well, what about the accountability of the student? The student is also being involved in this. It's not like they're being forced to do whatever it is that they're doing, unless, of course, the professor at that time is doing something that's illegal. Like, for example, like saying you're not gonna get an A, whether you get an A or not, unless you do this. Then yeah, go to jail at that point. But going to jail just because you did something with somebody who was of age that agreed to do whatever they agreed to do, losing your job in itself is already a lot. No, I don't agree with that.
Is a judge and a defendant, the judge going to jail for sleeping with a defendant?
I think jail is a bit much. Jail is a bit
Jail
much.
is
At
a
the end of
bit
the day,
much.
when you take whatever oath you take or whatever kind of position that you take and you have a position of authority, that comes with a heightened level of responsibility. If you abuse that authority or that position, okay, let me ask you, what if the teacher says, I'll fuck you for grades?
I'll fuck you for free.
Fuck you, they're banging students for grades. Go to jail?
No. You lose your job.
They do that.
I understand. I'm saying
There's teachers who've taken money, they've taken bribes. Hold up, they've taken bribes. Bribery is a form of example of that. That's bribery. You can't do that and not go to jail.
I understand that. I
Okay.
understand that. Like, I understand it's done and it's been done.
Uh-huh.
I don't disagree with the fact. I can't disagree with
It's a very fine line. It's like I already explained. If teacher is giving an ultimatum, and the ultimatum is you're not gonna get a passing grade unless you do X, Y, Z. You can go to jail at that point.
the fact of something has been done, right? I'm saying I think it's a bit much.
So you think bribery doesn't deserve jail?
You could lose your job.
But you cannot look at it that way because it ruins the public trust in the institution as a whole. It moves the accreditation of everything involved.
And that's why you shouldn't be working there anymore.
But beyond that, it's not enough to just say that, because if you don't make the ramifications strong, it still enables people to do that. If you're just saying
Losing a job is everything. To lose the job and also go to jail, that's too much. It's too much. What do you think the ramifications should be for something like this? Should it be jail, or would losing the job be good enough?
2017, whatever the f- it was, also plays a part. because I remember growing up most of my life, these kinds of relationships were incredibly normal. Doesn't make them good, but they were very normal. Almost everyone I went to high school, especially the women, had a boyfriend already in university or in college, and nobody batted an eye. Were they underage? Sure. Did anyone care? Absolutely not. And that was normal. I'm not talking about one-offs or two-offs. I'm talking about very, very common. And it was
Like I said
almost
earlier.
akin to underage drinking. Is it illegal? Sure.
Yeah.
Does anyone care? Absolutely not.
No.
I would go to parties all the time as a high schooler, and everybody was wasted out their mind. And the parents knew, everyone around you, and nobody really cared.
Yo.
I think this is kind of similar to that, at least when I was growing up. So I'm not saying again, everyone bites my head off. I think it's also important to have a conversation of the kind of culture that most of us are grown up in, especially if we're above in our 30s, and how these kinds of dynamics were not abnormal back then.
In the situation with Cody Ko, I think it's already, his reputation has already gone way more of a hit than necessary for something so old already. Anyway, tell me what you think below. I forgot one thing. Cody Ko has a family now. He has kids. He has a wife. You want to ruin all that because of something that happened years ago that was never traumatic to whatever her name is, Tana. That's an even thing. Let's ruin a family. Let's ruin her family. Let's ruin his income because of some shit that happened long ago. Yeah, nah.